Okay, I think everybody's here now, so we can get started. I'm gonna start out saying that I came up with this topic because I've been making my living for a few years now using WordPress. We all saw Corey's talk earlier, which was great talk. If you're watching on WordPress.tv later, definitely check out Corey's talk from this, Corey Miller's talk. How he built his dream using WordPress, using the web. That's what many of us are here right now to do, are doing right now, or maybe are attempting to do. I built this because, or did this because I've come across a lot of times as a developer, trying to sell people on projects made with WordPress, and people are still under the assumptions that WordPress is like a blogging platform. Maybe they know it can be a CMS, but they don't really know the power that it can have. It's like, okay, well, I know I can create pages and I knew I can create posts, but I don't really know, but no, WordPress can't do this, really fancy stuff that I saw company X doing, big name company out here doing on their website, and I want something like that. So, they may have talked to somebody who does a different CMS and they think that this guy's more powerful, maybe some .NET developer out there or something saying you need to code something up, an application up in straight .NET. You can't do that with WordPress. Well, you can do that with WordPress. I started out probably around 98, making my first website. First websites, and I started out, doing straight HTML, doing, the editors like Front Page and things like that. Those were kind of building blocks to my progression. Building blocks like the Legos, you start out with the big Duplo blocks and you progress on to, the regular Legos. And then you get the really cool sets they have out nowadays. You guys see they have the new Simpsons set coming out. They have that, like a Ghostbuster set that's going to be coming out for their anniversary. I mean, those are pretty sweet. So you get these little extra things you add in there. You get all these little pieces that do different cool things. And through the years, I kind of built up these little pieces in my arsenal of finding things. WordPress being one of those pieces, and even working along with WordPress, I kept finding more and more pieces that really would make some awesome things, would make that awesome Simpsons Lego set in comparison to my website, if you want to make that analogy somehow. So I continued on, starting about 98, never really took web development all that seriously for many years after. It was kind of more of a hobby of mine, side work. I do a website for a couple $100 for somebody I knew in the community, a friend or whatever, or just build some, fun project that myself. I really didn't think, I really didn't press publish, I guess, really thinking that I could make this something I wanted to be. I went through, working in IT for a while. I did some sales work. I was manager at a retail store for a while. Did some software QA type stuff, still in the IT type field, and didn't really find my niche in this until, was it maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I left that retail job. Well, actually, I got fired. It was the best thing that happened, though, because, so if you're working at a retail job you hate, just get fired and it's all better. No, it is, because it gave me the opportunity to actually explore this stuff. I skipped slides here though. WordPress, the WordPress community came to the rescue. I had quit or got fired from that job, and the community came to the rescue. I started attending these meetups. I started going to the meetups in my community. I'm from the Milwaukee area, and I started going to like the PHP meetup. I started going to some web design meetups, just different things that piqued my interest. I got into the WordPress meetup. A good friend of mine, Scott Offord, had recently started a WordPress meetup there, and I started attending it. He asked me to come present at the meetup. I was pretty new into the WordPress, but I know I had played with it. I said I had started, and I'll go back to the slides and talk about that with. I started using WordPress probably around 2004, 2005 time frame. The first actual client site I built was during college. I was on WordPress 1.5. As you can see back then, you can probably tell why people thought it wasn't very powerful. You know, this is what it looked like right here. Not really that appealing. It was, at the time, pretty much just a blogging platform. 1.5 actually introduced static pages. It introduced a theming system. You couldn't even control menus back then in the admin. You had to do things pretty much statically for menus, or you could list off every single page. It had a long way to go. It had its building blocks, its Lego blocks it had to add in there too.
But it was responsive.
It was, it's true. So I was still, even from 2005 up until about 2011 when I started getting into the WordPress meetup there, I still was pretty new into WordPress, and I didn't really know all the things it could do. But Scott had asked me to participate in this meetup group. I knew a little bit about WordPress. I knew a little bit about command line, but I didn't know a whole lot about them. But he asked me to do something on installing WordPress from the command line. So I took the week I had before it and learned how to install WordPress from the command line so I could do a presentation for this. One thing I suggest to you guys, if you're to first get involved in any of your local tech communities, WordPress communities, there's a great WordPress meetup here in Dayton. You're obviously here at WordCamp, so you must have some interest in learning stuff like this. Attend other WordCamps. Shameless plug, WordCamp Milwaukee. Head up there end of July, last weekend of July.
Better than Chicago.
Better than Chicago. And present at them too. Talk to them. Even if you don't know that much, it's a good opportunity to learn something new by presenting at the meetups. And this is what really got me to learn these bigger building blocks that WordPress had in the ecosystem that I could use to build awesome things. Later that year, I had decided, okay, I'm going to start doing web development full time. I'm going to take that leap. I started to work with WordPress mainly, although I did some Drupal sites. I did some other stuff around that time frame too, but WordPress latched on because it was easy to use, and I'm sure that's why a lot of you guys are here to learn about it and are using it yourselves. Like I said, I still didn't know exactly what it could do. Coming in 2012, we organized our first WordCamp in Milwaukee. I was one of the co-organizers of it. It was my first ever WordCamp, and I actually spoke at it and was one of the lead organizers for it, which I don't recommend doing at your 15th WordCamp, let alone your first WordCamp. It's a lot of work. I'm sure talk to Nathan here. He'll tell you how much work it was preparing that last talk he just did and being an organizer here. But I got to meet people in the community, and I really found out that this was the place for me. This was something I loved because of the community and because of the things I could learn from it. There was just so much that was available in this community, in this ecosystem, that can help me create amazing things. So what I'm going to talk about here is I'm going to go through a few examples of that I've come across through the years of WordPress sites that are out there now that are do some pretty amazing things. Things that I never thought I could do, back in 2005 when I was on WordPress 1.5 making my first WordPress site, let alone back in the early 2000s or 98 when I was doing straight HTML sites or using front page. I never thought I could make things that I can right now with WordPress. These are just amazing things. I mean, and I've grown through the years, as I've said. Now I've for the last 3 months have been working as a web engineer for 10up, one of the largest WordPress agencies out there, and we really do some amazing things here. Some of these sites are our sites. A lot of these things out here aren't sites that we've worked on or I've worked on in general. They're just sites that I've found out there that people have done amazing things with WordPress. Then I'll go through a few little plugins that you guys can use. Some of the plugins are going to be ones that if you're a user, you can put into your site right away, do some really cool stuff with. Some of the plugins, you might need a little bit of development knowledge to use them. And then I'll kind of talk about how WordPress does this, or like what WordPress has inside of it to make these things happen. Don't worry, I'm not going to get into the code or anything because it is a user talk here, but it's important to know that WordPress makes this happen, and it's not a bunch of super highly customized from the ground up work that these plugins and these sites do. A lot of it WordPress gives us to work with. The first site I'm going to show off here, this is a large company. I'm sure we've all seen Dymo, the makers of like the label makers. They have large company using WordPress. That's one thing. A lot of people say WordPress isn't ready for the enterprise. Well, this is one large company that shows it is. As you can see here, they have an international listing of sites here. So they have sites for separate countries. A lot of information there. They have intricate product listings here, product videos, a lot of data. It can hold a lot of data for a large company here. Very advanced in their product listings. They have a database that can be searched through of tech specs, white papers, SDK documentation, a lot of information for people looking to get Dymo label printers. Another neat information here too that one of my coworkers at 10up suggested me to show you is called GameFruit. This is a website that features Flash games. So you can go through and actually there's a game generator there and make Flash games. And it shows you like listings of all different types of Flash games. You can play some zombie game down here too. Actually play them on the site, make games on the site, and it's all built around WordPress, listing it. You can go in here, you can like and dislike games, vote things up, share them with people. There's a large knowledge base, a database of information on how to make and distribute games through this. Another pretty cool implementation of something made with WordPress that you probably don't think that's going to happen. I mean, you look at the sites that are coming up in this site, and maybe a lot of people make their websites and they just type all their information into a page. Well, with this, these type of things, that's going to be a lot of information to put in just typing into one page and trying to lay everything out here. That's why you take advantage of some of these things that WordPress gives you to make pretty awesome implementations here. This is kind of a neat thing that Mark Jakewith and his wife have created. If you don't know Mark Jakewith, he's one of the pretty awesome WordPress developer. He's one of the core committers of WordPress, have made some really awesome plugins and some really cool stuff out there. He created kind of a review site called Have Baby Need Stuff, reviews of strollers, and he actually has affiliate links in here back to Amazon, so you can make a little money off it too. So it's kind of a neat thing that you can make, maybe like a little side project, and hopefully create some income from that. This is kind of a neat thing that came out pretty recently, something that 10up is a partner in, called SEO Slides. What SEO Slides is like me right here, I'm doing a presentation. Maybe you do a presentation at a group event or a conference, a WordCamp, and you want to share the slides out there with somebody. Most of the time you post those slides up to SlideShare, something like that. When people click on the link, they go to SlideShare to see them. With this, you can actually share the slides and even create slides if you want to, and have them right on your own website. This is in tandem both a plugin and a service that helps create these and embed these right on your site and keep them on your site. That way you're getting the links to your site. You were just in an SEO talk in this room here before. You're getting that SEO juice into your site. You're getting people coming to your site every time people link to these presentations, not over to SlideShare or in one of those other services. It's all right in your site. And you talk about big implementations. This question?
Is there an audio capacity or just straight slides?
I don't know for sure on that one. Yeah. Yeah, there might be information on the website, but I'm not sure exactly on it. And we're talking about large implementations of data. Well, the government even uses WordPress in some instances. One of them here is data.gov for the Open Data Initiative. So all open data is supposed to get listed in this site, data.gov. So you talk about large data sets, a lot of information in a site. Well, this is going to be something that's going to need to scale very large. Talking about government, you don't want healthcare.gov things to happen. We all know how that went. Maybe that should have been built in WordPress. Who knows? But yeah, this, you have a very intricate search feature up here, categories of information, intricate listings of data that people can search through and use for their needs and find out there that's open data from the government. Even API information so people can make applications that build off this data. This is kind of a cool one here too, the JDRF, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, I believe, created this called Type 1 Nation. This is a community site for obviously people with diabetes. Kind of neat, like support system for them. It's kind of it's a community. You go in here, you can log in, create profile, post in forums, and with other people who have this similar ailment to you, and get a little help with it. In this, there's different types of users, different roles for those users, so you can do different things on the website. Very cool implementation of a nonprofit organization that's really trying to help people out here using WordPress in a very unique way. Another similar type of implementation, American Express, has one called Open Forum. This is a similar community site where people can log in, they can discuss things in a forum, people can post articles on here, like and share articles, or you have profiles for different types of financial information, financial help that you might want to get coming from American Express. And another option, or another large company using WordPress out there. So when you have people that are saying, WordPress is, not as big as some of these proprietary platforms out there. Well, as you see, there's a lot of large companies now that are using WordPress. Next, pretty neat site here too is Universal Sports. So NBC Universal. For some of their sports information. This is a video site. Think of like a Hulu type site for all Universal Sports. You have all different videos categorized by sport. So you're looking at different things. Right now this is like alpine skiing, probably because of with the Olympics coming out and that. You can go down by sport and find different videos that you like, categorized and searchable. It also has TV listings that show up there, so you want to find things in actual TV stations. They're going to be available to search on the site. A channel finder, another big company, another pretty intricate system built right on top of WordPress. Now imagine if you were just using your normal pages and you had to input all this information to a page on a daily basis. You don't have to, because WordPress gives you the power to create these type of intricate systems here.
So if you wanted to create a glossary of blog posts, maybe even sorted by categories, is there a plugin that's handy there?
Yeah, there are ways to do that, and we can have some little more discussion after the actual presentation and on some ways to do it too. Now this one I think is really cool. This is by the people from Web Dev Studios. They created this iPad app that the YMCA, I believe in the Philadelphia area, uses. So they have kids come in, it's a YMCA Y MVP for youth in the area. Kids come in and they can log in on this iPad, check into the YMCA, so they get some type of credit for being there, and actually plan out their fitness activities. Track the different things that they have going on here, how they've done. Get progress reports. You get these cool little badges on different things you do. So that gives them a little motivation to be more active, to try out more sports, to do more activities at the YMCA.
That's not a true app though, right? That's a site.
We'll get to it. Yeah, you can make true apps though. But we'll get to it. I'm not really sure if this one was made as a true app or if this was made as a web app, but we're going to get to there is a way to make actual apps out of it too. So it's a really neat way that they've made a cool application to get people to really engage at the YMCA. Now we'll move on to a couple of the plugins that I have used or I know are very good for getting some more intricate functionalities in your site. First one is pretty much everybody I talk to, every developer and a lot of WordPress users I talk to, their favorite plugin, Gravity Forms. Who here uses Gravity Forms, has used Gravity Forms? It's a pretty awesome plugin, and you're thinking forms, how can that be that cool? Somebody sends me an email to write web form. Well, it's more than a contact form. It's like forms on steroids. You can create tons of different types of forms here. You have, your basic text fields, text area fields, but you also have advanced fields and like date fields, file uploads, addresses, pricing fields. You can make a whole e-commerce solution out of this if you really wanted to.
Email routing is also good.
Yeah. Yeah, email routing, sending emails based upon what happens on the form to different people, different types of notifications to different people. You can send multiple notifications out to both the user and to administrators of the site or other people out there. One awesome thing about it too is that they have, it's awesome for developers because they have tons of hooks into the forms, so you can basically make anything happen when forms are submitted. It's really awesome too because you can create posts and pages or custom posts right from these forms. So it gives you a pretty easy to use level of access to WordPress to make it really interactive and allow people to submit content right into your website. You can even populate forms with existing content. I've done this before, say for, I made a custom, just a very simple custom event registration thing. So I had this company that they had different classes on a regular basis, and they want people to register for it. So you go to the event page, down at the bottom there's like just a form that says register for our event. I didn't want to create a form for every single event that was titled event 1 form, event 2 form. Well, I create one form, it auto-populates with the name of the actual event, the name of the post, or the custom post I made, and then it sends that out to the right person and actually saying that, this person registered for this event. So they actually know that information actually pre-populated in there. Paid plugin, but well worth the money if you're building sites. They have a good developer license, and even single site licenses, definitely worth the price. Awesome plugin as well. How many people have heard of BuddyPress here? BuddyPress is what creates those community networking sites. So like the JDRF site and the Open Forum site. this is what powers that. This is what powers WordPress.org. As you see John Jacoby's profile on WordPress.org here. If you've signed up to WordPress.org and you post in the forums, or you've created plugins or anything like that, you're running a profile on BuddyPress. So this gives you profiles, different account settings, activity streams. You see right there, J-Trip's activity on the side. You know, you can see what people are doing, and basically think of like a kind of like your own Facebook, your own mini Facebook. You can have different groups. You can have internal messaging between people using BuddyPress, notifications using BuddyPress. It's a pretty powerful software. You can do some really neat things with. Yeah.
So if you wanted to create a forum where you can ask a question that goes out to so many people, they all have the right to reply. It goes all the way around through.
Yeah, you can create. Yeah, you can create a forum and have like buddy lists and different things like that with this. Also, that kind of moves us on to the next plugin, BBPress, which is kind of a sister project to BuddyPress. This is more the full-fledged forum software that you can build upon WordPress. Like this, you can create multiple different forums. You can combine this with BuddyPress, and for each group that's created in BuddyPress, have its own forum. So it's a pretty powerful type of applications you can build with that. And like he was asking here, you can make these forums where people can go on and ask a question and get notifications on things posted, and have it open for discussion for different people to reply back and give their feedback and their information. You had asked earlier about about creating apps with WordPress, mobile apps. AppPresser just recently came out from the people from Web Dev Studios. Really cool thing they got here. This allows you to build native mobile apps with WordPress. And by native, I mean not a web app, not where you say, go into your iPhone, you click add to home screen and open it up in the browser or whatnot. An actual native app that can be sold in the Apple App Store, that can be sold in the Google Play Store. All built and managed using WordPress. Cool thing about this too is that you can get access to the phone APIs too. So you can get access to the camera. You can get access to the geolocation, push notifications. They have different plugins you can get that give you access to these things on the phone too. So you can make a full iPhone or Android app that's all managed and using WordPress.
How do you feel about the learning curve on that? Is it pretty steep? Or?
I haven't used it very much yet. I have a copy that I'm using to try to make an app for WordCamp Milwaukee. I think there's different levels based upon what you want to do on it. So, but I can't really comment on it too much because I haven't got too in depth in it yet. But I think it seems really like a really cool idea, and I think this is something that's going to really take off soon. So if you're looking to, so maybe you're running an agency and you're looking to branch out into something new, and you know WordPress, this gives you the power of WordPress in an app.
Question.
Yeah.
Is that similar to, I've noticed a couple of themes recently have included a way to export your WordPress site as a standalone app. I mean, is that really what that is? To where, is that the same thing to where it's literally its own icon on your phone?
I guess I'm not sure how those themes do it, so I couldn't tell you for sure.
Okay, I just came across them in the last couple of weeks when I was looking at themes, and there's a couple of them, it's like, you can actually, one of the built-in things that comes with the theme is a way to export it to where people then can access your site.
Yeah, it may be.
As a separate button where it's not going through a browser.
That may be, like sometimes you go to a mobile site and you see down the bottom, click add to, a little thing pops that says click add to your home screen or whatever. Yeah. And that'll create an icon on your home screen where you can click on it and go into that, and it gives you an app-like experience. But that would be called like a web app, and not a true mobile app. And with that, you wouldn't be able to sell it, say, in the App Store. Yeah. With this, you'd actually be able to sell it in the App Store.
Because I wasn't sure if it was the same thing, or people are starting to incorporate it as.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's the first way I talked about with the themes, but then I guess there's nothing saying that you could take one of those themes and build that into AppPresser too. So that would be possible. Yeah. Moving on, the next thing that's kind of neat is called BadgeOS. This is what powered the badges on the YMCA app. With this, it's a plug-in, free plug-in. They may have some premium services or premium add-ons to it, I'm not sure, but you can just add this into your site and you can start rewarding badges to people for their accomplishments. You can assign triggers to this based upon different things in the site. Say you want to have people comment on your posts more and you want to give them badges for that. After you commented 10 times, you get your awesome badge. That's something you can add into with this app or with this plugin. Different things, posting things on the site. If you have a site where you allow people to post things, say you have the forum site and you want to get people posting things to the forums, that would be a good application for this. And of course, like what they did with the app, trying to get people to work out at the YMCA was really neat with this. And WooCommerce is, my opinion, the top WordPress e-commerce plugin. There's a lot of them out there. There's some good ones out there. My favorite is WooCommerce. Guys at Woo Themes do a really great job with this. Very easy to use, in my opinion, compared to some of the e-commerce solutions out there. Not just WordPress, some of the ones that are even non-WordPress can be kind of daunting. And very powerful, in my opinion, too. Some people think that WordPress can't handle e-commerce very well, but I've run sites with thousands of products on this before. I've built things like that, and it can handle that. It's more, not really the software, but more that you have the processing power behind it when you get to some of these applications here. I've built some really cool things with WooCommerce. You can have different payment gateways. It calculates taxes. It calculates shipping, very extensible. E-commerce is a big thing out there too. One thing I didn't mention with AppPresser too is that that can do e-commerce as well. So if you're looking to do e-commerce for mobile in your app, that's pretty cool. It has an e-commerce bundle that you can get for it that, I don't know if it integrates with WooCommerce or what it does, but I know that's one of their options there. You can sell physical and digital goods though with WooCommerce, and it can be all managed right in your WordPress site with reports, coupon codes, all the product listings and everything. More e-commerce. Another awesome one is Easy Digital Downloads. Pippin, great developer who created this. He did a great job with this. This is for strictly digital goods, so things you're not going to be shipping out. Say you're a plugin or theme developer and you want to sell those plugins and themes online to people. This is probably the best product out there to do that. Or maybe you're into music and you want to sell MP3s. We want to sell videos, something like that. Anything that's digital, this is what it's for. This is very extensible. Like I said, Pippin is really big into allowing his plugins to be super extensible, putting tons of hooks in there. So if you're a developer or if you're working with a developer and they want to make something custom for this, I'm sure that there's a way to do it. Again, just like WooCommerce, you have all manageable right inside your normal WordPress dashboard. You can have reports, coupon codes, all that stuff right in the dashboard. And with this too, you can even have there's even a customer area so people can come back and download things later if you want them to. This is kind of a neat one too called Sensei. I have not actually used this yet, but this is from Woo Themes as well. This is a classroom or coursework software. So with WordPress, you can, run a class. Say maybe a school wanted to put their class information online. This is something that would do it. Or maybe you wanted to have a tutorial site out there. You could use this and even integrate it with WooCommerce. I think that's the only integration it has, probably because it's made by the same company. But integrate it with WooCommerce and sell access to these classes. Embedding in videos or notes, text content, even quizzes and tests can be made in there. Different things graded for them too, so you can reward people for having completed tests and completed the course. And there's even course analytics to see how many people are taking the courses and how they're doing on the courses. So really neat product. Like I say, I haven't actually used it yet, but I've heard good things, and it was really cool when I tried it. When I tried checking it out a while back. Now this one isn't quite a plugin, but a feature of WordPress. It's WordPress multi-site. Anybody here have used a multi-site install before? Now it's a pretty powerful thing with WordPress. You can manage multiple WordPress sites within one WordPress installation. And what this is great for is, say, it's a corporation and you have multiple products, and each product has their own website. Well, you don't have to have 50 passwords to your 50 products to log into 50 different websites. You have one WordPress install that you log into, and you can select which website you want to manage within that WordPress install there. So say you're Ford, and you have a website that's your main overall Ford website, and then you have separate mini websites for the Ford Escape and for the Ford Taurus and for the Ford Explorer. You can actually have all those built into one WordPress site. Makes it much more manageable. I believe that's what's being used in that Dymo site for the actual different country sites, because they're going to have different content for different countries. Also great for universities and schools. They use this a ton. So say you're in a university and you have different departments. So the computer science department has their own site. The English department has their site. The math department has their site. Well, this can all be managed within one install of WordPress. So your IT people can log in and see that everybody has their site set up. But everything can be structured off and separated off into different separate sites. Maybe faculty even have separate sites that can be added in here. You could even have a student site thing too, where all the students can have separate sites, and they would have their own WordPress site, that they can have their own WordPress theme, they can install their own plugins, they can build their own functionality into it, have different user roles per site. You can say create one site or create a user for me and only give me access to this site, or give me access to 2 sites and not other sites. So it's a pretty powerful thing that WordPress has right out of the box. You just add a couple lines of code into it and you activate a multi-site. So you can build a big network of sites like this for your company, for your organization. With this, you can run sites as a subdomain, a subdirectory, or as its own web address. And what that means is, like, I have my blog at dustyf.com. I built it as a multi-site now because I made a photo blog too. So I have photos.dustyf.com. That is a subdomain of dustyf.com. I could make it as a subdirectory. I could make it dustyf.com/photos, a subdirectory. Or if I wanted to, get a new web address, I could get like dustysphotos.com, and I can assign that web address to a different site too. So you can do all different types of things with this installation. Another neat thing that people really like doing with WordPress is membership sites. I'm showing up here MemberPress. I've never actually built a membership site, so I don't really have a good suggestion on which plugin to use. Mark here said that he really liked how MemberPress worked. One thing I would suggest is to check out Chris Lemma's blog. Chris Lemma writes a lot of great articles on WordPress and business, and he has a lot of great information on membership plugins, including what I've linked to up here. I would check his out, and he has that article that goes down a list of like maybe 10 different membership plugins for WordPress, and gives you a little bit of information on each of them so you can decide which is best for you. Do you have a question?
Who did you say was the author of that blog?
Chris Lemma. L-E-M-A, 1 M.
Right up there.
Yeah, it's up there on top. I will post these slides up and later, and I would assume that they'll be putting slides up somewhere on the WordCamp website here. Okay. So with these, you can sell the memberships and subscriptions to your site, give access to different content articles, different parts of your site, have different virtual products in there even, change access rules. So maybe you have a gold member that has access to everything, and you have a silver member that has access below that, only has access to this part and this part. That can all be done with these membership sites. This is more of a developer plugin here, but this is a really cool plugin I've used many times called Post to Posts. This will allow you to link together different posts or pages or even users or custom posts. So what they show here as an example is movies and actors. So you have an actor and you want a page with actor information on it, and you want a page for movies with movie information on it. And you can go in and select these things in meta boxes on the side of your WordPress post and link them together. So you know that, Matt Damon starred in some film over here, and link them right together and actually build a very connected site between your different posts. I've used this in many applications to build, great linking with that. Next one, and this is a plugin I really like too, called Advanced Custom Fields. This plugin allows you to create custom fields to put in your posts or pages very easily. You do need to know a little bit of development for this, because you're going to have to embed these actually in the templates for your website. But this will, to create these custom fields, you don't have to go through tons of code. You just create it in the WordPress admin, and then you look at the documents and it says the field. You put the field in there with the name of your field you created, and that will go right into your template. It gives you tons of different very powerful fields to work with. Your basic text field, your WYSIWYG field, you get checkboxes, pick lists, date fields, true, false. You can even do file uploads. I've done this a lot for people who have like documentation, repositories, image uploads, galleries, a color picker. It's kind of neat. One of my favorite things is a repeating field. So if you need, say you're making a recipe website and you want to list all the ingredients, you don't have to know a finite number of ingredients. You can add one ingredient, click a button, it adds another field below it. Add another ingredient, click a button, adds another field below it. A really awesome thing to do. You can even, for developers, you can even export this information to PHP or XML file to import into a new site. You do need to have advanced custom fields installed in the site to use that, of course. But it's a pretty powerful plugin and one worth checking out. Another tool to use here for developers is called Generate WP. This will generate information on creating a lot of things in WordPress, like custom post types, custom taxonomies, sidebars, a whole ton of different things. Something to check out that you don't have to type out all the code yourself. I'd recommend, while you do this, learn what the code does if you're going to be making anything like this. But I go through this all the time if I want to create a custom post type, because I don't have to type every single thing out. This will generate it for me. If you want to go plugin route on custom post types, this is probably the best plugin I've found for that before. Yes?
Can you uninstall that after you're done?
You should, well, you can export the code from this, put it into a PHP file, and then uninstall it. Yes. This plugin will create custom post types right in your admin for you. Gives you, a GUI interface that will allow you to do that. So if you want to go that route, you can do that. But the one thing is, it's not going to allow you to display those in the way you want to. You still do have to create template files for that. And this is a brand new plugin that just was released yesterday, made by 10up, who I work for. It's really neat, a cool thing they just came out with. This allows push notifications for WordPress, called PushUp. So basically, you visit a site. It's in use right now on a good number of big blogs like 9to5Mac and GigaOM. It'll prompt you, do you want to allow this site to send you push notifications? And it will pop up push notification on your Mac whenever, say, a new post is written. Or if you want to create it on maybe a custom post or something, whenever something happens in your website, you can send out a push notification to the browser. Currently, I believe only Safari on Mac supports push notifications like this. But it's a really neat thing, and I'm sure it'll be coming in other browsers eventually. And it actually does work right now without the browser being open too. because being with the Mac, it integrates in, Safari integrates more into the Mac OS.
Is that a premium plugin or is that a?
The plugin is technically free, but there's a subscription service because you have to go through the third party to push the notifications out to so many people. And this, like I said, just dropped yesterday, so brand new, hot off the presses. And just so you have information on how WordPress does this, all this stuff isn't, you know, custom from the ground up coded. WordPress gives you a lot of stuff to start with this. So if you were a developer, if you're working with a developer, so they know they don't have to create everything from the ground up. WordPress has things that I mentioned through this a few times, custom post types. That's creating different types of categories and different types of information. Like you create posts, you can create movies for that movie listing. And then you put all your information in there for a movie. And then in your sidebar, you have a little area where you can add new movies. Roles and capabilities, as you've seen, different roles for different users there. Custom taxonomies, so you can categorize those posts differently. The custom fields and meta boxes, they all have ways within WordPress to create these custom fields and the little boxes that you see all over your screen there. And WordPress has a host of APIs that allow you to hook into it and do really awesome things with it. So I am done with that there. Again, my name is Dustin. This is how you can get a hold of me on Twitter, my website. I do work for 10up, so everybody knows 10up is looking for new developers, designers, clients, and all that. We're probably the largest only WordPress agency out there right now. So if there's any questions, let me know. And we may have 2 minutes for questions. I don't know, or is it 2:45 we're supposed to be done? I can answer a couple questions if we want to. Or just catch me later if you want to.